Stage and the U.S. premiere of this smash UK hit at Children's Theatre Company. From jungle creatures to outer space adventures and a wild dance party, you won't want to miss The Enormous Crocodile. Running October 1st through November 23rd. Tickets at childrenstheatre.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Wednesday. Jeff Stein joins us here in just a little bit to talk about the shutdown. We're going to get to the shutdown with him, and then the threat to unleash the Army into a war zone, a.k.a. your downtown shopping areas. We'll get to that with him. Patrick is here producing for us today. Hey, Patrick.
I'm not actually here because the shutdown meant I couldn't come in.
No, you're not a government employee. As much as they would like to say we are something they could get rid of. No, we are here. Like, a mold in the basement. We're not going anywhere. We're here. It's nice to have you with us today. Okay, I one thing I want to get in, because I got a lot to try to get in here before Stein. And I want to start off with just the latest here. And I mean, every Republican is screaming the Democrat shutdown, and they're screaming about health care for immigrants. When the truth is this, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to basically drive a specific narrative, and it's not working, to say the least. For them. So yeah, it's something which is, it's I don't know how they're going to, pull this off, but they're trying their hardest. Anyway, they've come on out and said something to the effect of that they are going to, basically, lay off a whole bunch of people. That's their whole kind of goal. And and by the way, can I point this out, that this whole idea of laying off a whole bunch of people, you guys are the ones that basically constantly talk about how you're excited about laying people off. I mean, that's been your whole thing, is laying people off. And now all of a sudden you're just like, I can't believe they're going to make us lay people off. I mean, you guys have been giddy about laying people off, but yeah, I'm with the Democrats on this one. I am 100%. And I'll talk to Stein about this. The message that you've got is a much better message. Back when they closed this down in the last decade, it was basically about, we're upset about the budget. It wasn't really specific. They're very specific here. You have to extend out the Affordable Care Act tax breaks. You have to undo the health care cuts that you did in the big, beautiful bill. You do those things, we'll pass the budget. And the longer that Republicans basically keep screaming that it's something it's not, well, it just, watch out for right now. Republicans and their donors are working over every moderate Democrat and saying, hey, you're really not like Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, are you? So just make sure you stay together on this. Actually, I want to get into something first of all, I did want to make sure I did point this out. Because I went back and I rewatched some of the segments of Trump and Hegseth speaking to the military leaders. And of course, their whole war on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which it's just so clear now that everyone in the Trump administration if you had 100 candidates for a job, every one of them would finish 98th, 99th, 100th on that job application. And they never want to look in the mirror and say, hey, it's me. Maybe I'm the bad guy. Maybe my personality is so horrible, or I'm not qualified for the position. And it never is the case. This is everything about what they're doing is basically, it's this whole idea that anybody that was hired but me was a mistake. And they're getting rid of all the competent people who are qualified and are people liked and putting them in charge, not because they're better, but because they're 20-time losers and they've been given the opportunity to place themselves as the winner once. And that's I mean, take a look at every member of that administration. Noam, Lutnick, you can go down to Brooke Rollins. You can go to, Brainworm McGee. You can, in the entire crew. Hegseth, the drunkiest drunk of all times. Every one of them. What is it? It's a 20-time loser. And basically this is them getting all those people that were hired in front of me. They should have been hired. I was always the best. Well, you were drunk that day, sir. Well, that's irregardless. Me drunk is still better than them. That is who the Trump administration is. That's this whole thing with DEI. It's not about the fact that, they're racist. They're all racist. Let's just be honest about it. They're a bunch of racist pigs. But as well, this is about, I was really the homecoming king and queen. I was really the one that got elected. That sort of thing. And I don't have any patience for it. On a completely unrelated note, I want to bring up something because I saw this story. This is out of The Guardian today. The unveiling of AI actor Tilly Norwood. What? Touted as the next Scarlett Johansson, was met with swift backlash in Hollywood. And basically The Guardian, basically a bunch of people chimed in on this. And this is some of the things they talked about. And the rise of AI actors. If you have to think about filmed entertainment in economic terms, not artistic, because AI is not about great art, but reducing costs by removing human talent and speeding up the process. Netflix is topping out at 300 million subscribers, delivering $40 billion worth of revenue against $17 billion worth of content expense. The fastest way for Netflix to increase profit is to make that content cheaper via computerized process. They've already they're already using AI to decide what to make, fulfilling every possible human wish with slice of bingeable nonsense from high art to lowbrow dating. The power of the dog isn't there because Netflix is committed to telling powerful stories, but merely to ensure high-end subscribers don't quit the service. It is incredible to see how far the technology has come in short time. There is no doubt that even if this stops short of on-screen leads, AI-generated content will find a place in the big screen, and it's a tool like anything else and a game changer for some aspects of media. For those jobs it will affect, and it absolutely will, need to calm down and consider what they do next in their career. The genie is not going to go back in the bottle. I'm sure that people were upset with Gottlieb Daimler and Henry Ford. But if AI content proves to be as useful as cost effective, then it cannot be stopped. Hollywood is not about making art; it's about making money. True. Give us one reason why studios should pay for cameramen, makeup artists, set designers, lighting, catering, and of course, actors and AI can do the job and make money. Films made with real people, actors, as well as all others innumerable people listed in the end credits will soon be something like ballet or opera enjoyed by few who are willing to pay for all the money for this art form. But why would the fan of, say, the Fast and the Furious franchise or the Marvel Universe or whatever it is called do that? All they care about is visual and stimuli, and AI delivers that perfectly. What this is and what I found to be interesting, and this is, of course, I mean, this character, Tilly Norwood, which it's just a computer program. It is representative of AI. And I want to make sure, if you're saying to yourself, Matt, with all the craziness that's going on in the world, why are you bringing this up? Because AI and automation are going to wipe out probably 90% of the jobs that we have that are not manual labor jobs. There will still be manual labor jobs, but that's going to pretty much be it at this point, because that's what AI is doing. And that's the entire point of AI. This is why the entire, the business sector is running to AI. And it's not just Hollywood and entertainment. It is everything. But I want to use entertainment to kind of give you an idea of the impact this is going to have. Now, I think all entertainment in 10 years, a large portion of all entertainment is going to be AI generated. That's everything. The worst industry, and let's be honest, is going to be porn. The porn is going to be mostly AI generated within probably 10 years because and this was their initial goal. They could make money off of it that way. And that's the whole point of AI, is to make money. It's not about, we want to make an online library and research center. No, it's about making money. And porn is the fastest way. And so my guess in 10 years, around 90% of all the pornography in the planet is going to be AI generated. But the rest of the entertainment sector, TV, movies, social media posts, music, I'd say 10 years, 50% of all of that product is going to be AI generated. And I can't wait. I've got friends who go to concerts all the time, and I can't wait for the brick wall to hit them when all of a sudden they're like, I love this new band. Well, who are they? Oh, it's an AI generated band. And they're going to be like, what? Because this technology is only going to get better at mimicking what we want. The film industry is the most visible version of what this is going to do to employees across, and we'll use this as an example for all industries. We've all sat through a Marvel movie and we watch the end credits and we'll wait to see that last scene, and you see all those people there. An AI movie it won't cost $50 million, $100 million. An AI movie will cost like $3 million. It will pay $100,000 to a director. It will pay the 20 AI computer people $50,000 each and spend $2 million on marketing. And that's in 10 years. And that will be half of the industry. That'll be half of the television shows. That will be half. And they don't care. I mean, if they get to a point, and they will get to a point where the AI looks human enough and realistic enough that they are not going to care. And you won't either, because the genie is not going back in the bottle. In 20 years, my guess is 90% of this industry will be there. And at that point, it won't be one guy and 20 computer programmers. It'll be one guy and 2 people. And these movie executives and the TV executives and the music executives and the porn executives and the people that are running these social media pages, they will be raking in the cash because you'll be gobbling it up. Now, think about those end credits of like a Marvel movie, and think about how many names are listed. And think about all of them being replaced by 20 people and one director. There won't be any, you'll just have an AI program. You'll type in the parameters and say, we want a romance set in Maine. Boom, here it is. If you're a politician right now, you need to be on the front end of this and realize that there aren't going to be, what AI is going to gobble up is not just like these people that work behind the scenes in acting. It's all tech jobs. It's all of it. It's all lower upper management, all middle management. They're all going to be gobbled up. And if people are basically going to lose $100,000 a year, $80,000, $100,000 a year jobs and and have to replace them with $40,000 a year jobs, that's going to be a pretty big freaking problem for our society. It is going to be a massive problem. Absolutely massive. We need to start talking about what AI and automation is going to do to the working sector, because it is going, in 20 years, it's going to annihilate us. Absolutely. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about outdoor fires. Sitting around a fire is the oldest, most basic form of human activity.
What's new is in the way fire is burned. We can show you how to burn cleaner with a lot less smoke.
The radiant heat and light from an open fire is unmatched. It kindles our spirits and connects us to the outdoors. And now it's easier to experience and enjoy.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs wood and gas burning fire pits and fireplaces. Let us help you experience an outdoor fire without all the smoke.
Come see the many ways you can enjoy a fire outdoors.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis, We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Thanks for being with us here today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So I'm going to get into the economy, and I'm going to actually start with two people who kind of are on polar opposites, but are kind of coming to the same conclusion, although one through the ag sector, one through the investment sector. The first is a guy named Leon Cooperman, and pretty interesting guy. He's a longtime investor. I like some of the things he believes. He says that we are in the late innings of a bull market where bubbles can form and risks rise, a stage that cycle that Warren Buffett has warned us about. So this is something he as well, something's not right here. Something is not right. Once a bull market gets underway, and once you reach the point where everyone has made money, no matter what system he or she followed, a crowd is attracted to the game that is responding not out of interest rates and profits, but simply to the fact that it seems to be a mistake to not be in the stock market. Buffett said this in 1999 into a Fortune magazine article. Buffett believes bull markets often end not only when valuations are stretched, which is something that happens, but also when there's irrational exuberance and when the rally is fueled by momentum. I want you to remember that. When there's irrational exuberance and the rally is just fueled by momentum. That's what's going on right now, says Cooperman, adding that investors' mood is very similar and valuation in artificial intelligence companies is ridiculously high. Taking back to what I was describing before. And we do need to have some protections here. And right now, the entire AI industry is working on the whole thing that no one's ever going to stop them. Here's the other person. A farmer in northeastern Nebraska says he's eagerly awaiting any soybean export sales in the world's top buyer. We've talked about this. Greg Anderson is the Nebraska soybean farmer. He says China's lack of demand for the U.S. product is becoming more alarming by the day. We're hoping some positive news in that regard, but it seems that every day or week goes by, nothing is accomplished. Which is, once again, a stunning reality. And that is something that's palatable and it's real. I've always said this, the ag sector is the foundation of our economy. And if you crack that, you can't recover too quickly. And right now, there are cracks all over the place. And it should be noted that not only is Brazil taking a lot of the Chinese soybean market, but so is Argentina. I thought I saw a story. I tried to find it. I didn't have enough real time, but I could have sworn that the bushel in Argentina and Brazil, the deals they're giving with China are $4 less a bushel than what you're getting from Americans. They're not coming back. Why would they come back? If they can get cheap product from Brazil and Argentina, why would they come back? You are seeing breaking on both sides of this market. The farmer in the field, they're realizing something is really wrong. The some of these top investors. Now, let's go back to what the thing Cooperman said, or what he was quoting in Warren Buffett. Bull markets often end not only when valuations are stretched, but also when there's an irrational exuberance and when the rally is fueled by momentum. All right. So let's just take a look at some of the the economic news of today, of just today. Let's just take a look around here at some of the things that come on out. Private payroll saw their biggest decline in 2.5 years during September, a further sign of the labor market weakening that compounds the data blackout accompanying the U.S. government shutdown. Companies shed a seasonal adjusted 32,000 jobs during the month, the biggest slide since March of 2023. Payrolls processing firm ADP reported this on Wednesday. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been looking at an increase of 45,000. So they were off by just a smidge, 77,000 jobs. And yeah, that's once again false optimism. In addition to the drop in September, the August payroll numbers were revised for a loss of $3,000 from an initially reported increase of 54,000. God, how many times does this happen? Yeah, you were only off by 57,000 in August, and now you were expecting it to be 45. It's minus 30, 45 plus, it's minus 32. And my guess is that's even going to be revised down further when we get the October numbers. Number two, U.S. consumer confidence declined more than expected in September amid mounting worries about the availability of jobs. The conference board said on Tuesday the consumer confidence index dropped by 3.6 points to 94.2 this month. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast the index only dipping to 96, so that's actually a pretty substantial drop further. Consumer assessment of business conditions was much less positive than in recent months, while their appraisal of current job availability fell for the 9th straight month to reach a new multi-year low, said Stephen Gouchard, a senior economist, global indicators at the conference board. This is consistent with the decline in job openings. So, consumer confidence, right in line with job openings, things aren't going well. The U.S. dollar declined more than 0.27% Wednesday after Congress failed to reach an agreement on a temporary budget, resulting in a shutdown of the American federal government. The dollar index, which compares the performance of the dollar to 6 other currencies, such as the euro and the Japanese yen, fell to 97.19. The decline resulted in a 10% overall drop for 2025. This is the largest yearly decline in the value of the dollar since 2003, when it dropped 14.6%. And then on top of that, shoppers will shrink their holiday budgets by an average of 5%, the first noticeable decline since 2020, according to the PwC's annual holiday outlook survey. That decline 5 years ago occurred amid the pandemic and its curtailed holiday celebrations. Generation Z is just pulling back significantly, said Kelly Peterson, a partner, noting that younger generation is facing the highest credit card delinquency rates and shifting more spending towards experiences like concerts and travel, where prices have risen faster than goods. Consumers are also anticipating a shorter shopping period, with most expecting to have their gift hunting completed by Cyber Monday. Minneapolis-based Target is prioritizing value and convenience to stand out from the competition. The retailer is leaning into shoppers' economic concerns in Toronto shopping scheduling and seasonal campaigns. Well, good luck with that. I mean, you still have a lot of you got to make a lot of amends. But okay, fine. So we have the holiday shopping season is going to suck. The dollar is declined. Consumer confidence has fallen off the cliff. Private payrolls, they dropped, all of them far more. No one's buying our soybeans. It is not a good time in our economy. It just is not. So let's take a look at what happened to the stock market today. Now, mind you, a dip in consumer confidence only a year ago would have dropped the stock market at least 100 points alone, let alone the currency stuff and the consumer confidence stuff and the job stuff. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Dow Jones was up 43 points. The S&P was up 22. And oh boy, that NASDAQ was up 95 points. None of this makes any sense. This is why I'm going to go back to exactly what, once again, the Cooperman was saying. And once again, this is quoting Warren Buffett. He believes that bull markets often end not only when valuations are stretched, but also when there's an irrational exuberance and when the rally is fueled only by momentum. AI companies are overvalued. That is pretty much what's keeping the markets high. That and cyber currency, Bitcoin, which once again, I wouldn't trust that for anything. If you can change the trajectory of your product by throwing a sex toy onto a basketball court, it's not a real thing. So, yeah. This is not good. And welcome to October and the government shutdown. Jeff Stein when we come on back.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire excels as a memory care community in the Twin Cities, located in Bloomington, and we have a new location in Medina. But what makes Welshire so different is the people that we have working for us. Our team has been together for the past 25 years providing this type of care. We employ some of the most amazing nurses and LPNs that are in the building 24 hours a day. We also have an activity team that is over 40 people. And our scheduling begins at 9 o'clock in the morning for activities, and it goes to 7, 8 o'clock at night. And that's 7 days a week. You won't find that. That is why many of the families that come to Welshire are actually coming from another memory care facility. Not all memory care is created equally. And that's why I encourage you, if you've had issues and problems at other places, come see what makes us so special. Please visit thewelshiremn.com and book a tour.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 84, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 66, and Thursday sunny with a high around 87. Head to Cafe Latte's Pizza and Wine Bar, featuring a full menu of gourmet pizzas and more than 30 wines. It's casual, cozy, and seriously delicious. Off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul. Reserve or order now at cafelatte.com. That's cafelatte.com.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Jeff. Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert and noted author. You can find his books at your favorite book retailer. The Iowa Business Report and the Iowa Politics Report come to us from his flagship station, KXEL, Cedar Falls, Waterloo, where he is joining us today. Hello, Jeff.
Matthew, how goes?
It goes well. Now, I'm going to ask this because I know you are in, it is Iowa. It is fall. I mean, how many homecoming events have you gone to so far this year?
Absolutely none.
None?
I'm barely at my own home. I mean,
Really?
that's to me, it's a homecoming if I'm in the door of the homestead by 6 o'clock at night.
Okay. Well, it is a good time. It's always enjoyable to go on out there and enjoy some of that because it is fun, especially when your team doesn't get destroyed. Like, that happened a lot with our team, our kids' teams. But we were like, hey, they're only down by 40. That sort of thing. That's always enjoyable.
Well, I mean, to travel to either my hometown for the high school or where I worked in radio or the universities I've taught at or attended, that's all beyond the scope of the ankle monitor that's tied to my home. So I'm kind of stuck.
So I'm going to let you choose. It's grab bag today. There you go. We can either go with the threat to send the military into our cities from yesterday, from what was one of the most awkward speeches I have ever, series of speeches I've ever seen in my life, or we can go with the government shutdown, which doesn't seem like it's going to wrap up anytime quickly. Where do you want to go?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's such a tough choice. Do I take the box or door number 2, Monty? Let's go shutdown.
Shutdown. So the last time this happened, and it seems like it was only 5 years ago, 6 years ago. That's, I mean, it was a magical time.
Mm-hmm.
The last time this happened, you had a bunch of Republicans who were basically just saying something very vague about the budget and the deficit, which, by the way, take your moment to laugh about that right now, that how they were so concerned and we had to rein in spending. And then eventually they put their tails between their legs and said, we made a point, and no, you didn't really, and kind of led up until the 2020 elections, which didn't go too well for the Republicans. The Democrats this time around, here's where I think that they are making a successful attempt at this, a stand. It's very specific. You need to extend the tax credits for the ACA and undo the healthcare cuts from the big, beautiful bill. Those are the two things. They're just staying with them. Simplistic, easy to understand. You do those things, we'll quickly sign on the bill. In your mind, when it comes to something like this, isn't it better if you can very definitively define why you're shutting it down and make that stand on that point?
Sure, in theory. And I say in theory because they've asked for 2 things that they know they're not going to get unless there's a multi-week shutdown, and the polls show that it's killing the Republicans. I mean, these are big things they're asking for. And I'm not evaluating the merits. I'm just saying they're asking for big things. And I heard just not very long ago that there's now conversation on the floor of the Senate that, well, maybe instead of a longer continuing resolution, we'll do a short one. And, I think that's because people on both sides are figuring out the clown car is not something the American people want to keep seeing.
Well,
and
what's interesting, by the way, if I can, I think I saw the story.
Yeah.
What I saw was a bunch of moderate Republicans, or so-called moderate Republicans, saying, "Oh, we want to just do a short-term thing." I didn't see any Democrats as part of that, group, like a Fetterman or something like that. I didn't see any. Were there any Democrats who are like, "No, I'm a little bit more for this"?
The report I heard was that after the show votes of today that struck down both the R and the D attempts, there were conversations across the aisle. Now, I'm not saying that anybody's publicly going for it, but this is the trial balloon today, right? This is the pre-Yom Kippur trial balloon, because nothing's going to get done until the end of the week at the earliest. And so, I think this is just sort of all right, everybody's now making their point, and then we'll come back sooner as opposed. There was never any reason, by the way. What's the current House proposal? Thanksgiving, right? That's the you kick it ahead until the Thanksgiving break.
It wasn't exactly a long-term deal, no.
Well, no, but I mean, if you're in any way close, you say a week, 2 weeks. All right, I'll give you to the 1st of November. But when you start by saying we need 6 to 7 weeks of an extension, you clowns aren't anywhere close to figuring it out on either side, certainly not together.
I will say this. Rounds, by the way, Senator Rounds out of North Dakota was the minor, or South Dakota is one of the Dakotas. I think he was the one Republican.
I think it's Lower Dakota.
Lower Dakota.
Because there's Upper Dakota.
Jeff, the Lower Dakota. But I mean, I think he was the one Republican that was quoted in the story of the R reaching across the aisle. We had not heard about the L's. So the 2 things they're asking for are the extension of the tax credits for the ACA and then undoing the health care for the big, beautiful bill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't this standard negotiation? Okay, fine. What they're really looking for is extend out the tax credits for the ACA. And at some point, that is probably going to be, especially considering, I think it's now, today, those raises in the ACA rates kick in. So I think that is something that is very attainable for the Democrats to get as far as a concession goes in this especially if this goes out 2-3 weeks. If at that point the citizens are saying, okay, this is not about undocumented people getting healthcare, this is about my healthcare getting destroyed, I don't think the Republicans have nowhere to run at that point.
There's your fighting point. You're right. There's your fighting point, because the Republicans say the Democrats just want money for illegals. I'm using their verbiage.
Yes.
And the Democrats are saying, you're decimating the entire system. Stop saying it's only about illegals, quote unquote, because that's not what you've done. Okay, at some point, the truth might accidentally rise to the surface. And if you go a couple, 3 weeks, you go a month. And in fact, if the premiums have gone up and there's no backstop for people, that's when the truth will come out. Now, there's a part of me that says, if in fact the Republicans were really worried about what the Democrats are saying, in other words, we're going to expose you because you're decimating the system, you'd think they'd come to the table quickly to cover it up. Well, they're not doing that. Well, I don't know what there is no strategy.
Well, actually,
that's what it comes down to. There is no strategy. And the only way to tell which side has more truth to it than the other is if it just plays out for 3 or 4 weeks.
I actually do think the strategy is on the left to allow the Republicans to have their big, beautiful bill cuts. They've already seen rural hospitals and clinics are closing. You've already seen you've seen people getting laid off in the healthcare industry, anticipation of rates going up, and rates are going up in anticipation of these things that are happening. I think the Democrats have realized that it does them no good to basically stop this, because the people who vote for Trump are not going to ever change. And so they're going to allow what the Trump administration has done to do. This is why I think this is all about the ACA tax credits. And because that is kind of much more universal, and it does affect a lot more people across the board, that's something which is a relatively easy fix. I have zero doubt, like you're saying, the Republicans are never going to undo their big, beautiful bill. They're too happy with what they did. And I think the Democrats are more than willing to allow that to go through and then let them try to run on that in 2026 and 2028.
3 months. That's how long the reconciliation bill, I refuse to call it the big, beautiful bill. The reconciliation bill has been around, right? It was signed on Independence Day. 3 months. So now these people who just pounded the table that democracy would fail unless this reconciliation bill passed, you really think they're going to reverse anything on it in 3 months? No. Now, to your point, and this is requiring the population to have a memory, and voters are notoriously short-term when it comes to memory. The Democrats are laying the table, right? They're saying this is what we're for. And if they don't get it, and the Republicans are allowed to hang themselves, okay, that's something that Democrats can use to say, we've been telling you. Oh, wait, we told you again. But what shiny object will be in front of the voters at the time that it's important? That's one of the tricky things about all of this.
Well, and historically, isn't that how it's the Democrats, by allowing this to go through, there have been multiple cases where the opposing party has allowed it to happen because they know that even though they could try to stop it, what it does is it ends up poisoning the water hole as far as electoral votes for the one party for decades to come because of that. I mean, you can look back at what Hoover was doing. And, basically, I mean, it was so bad that they ended up, not being able to get back the White House again until Eisenhower. And then, or you can look back at, what did the Civil Rights Act do in the South? Well, it sure angered and infuriated the white Southerners, even still today, that they are still there. It's still about DEI. How dare you help those people? I mean, that is, you kind of get this situation where this has always been part of the game, and whether or not it's something we should admire or condemn, that's a great debate. But by letting them win, all right, you get your way. This is going to, I mean, you're the ones that have, you break it, you buy it. That was the old Colin Powell line.
Well, and you and I have talked about this. If you do a continuing resolution of what's there right now, there's a lot of Democrat priorities still in there, right? Because what have the Republicans done? Nothing. This is a Biden budget they're kicking down the road. This is stuff that Pelosi and Schumer still had some handiwork on. Okay, the actual budget, the spending. because they haven't done anything, the Republicans. So normally you'd say the Democrats would be like, yeah, let's buy a couple of months. But it's a broader strategy, apparently, right? To expose these other issues. It's just maddening. It's one thing to say we're taking time off around October 1st and 2nd because it's Yom Kippur. Okay, that's fine. Then why in the blazes were you people not in session last week? I mean, it's just incomprehensible to me that you know when September 30th is. You know that you never get a budget done. How about we take the week off before? Come on.
Johnson is so desperate to prevent that person, that Democrat from Arizona, from getting sworn in, because that's the final sign on to basically release the Epstein files, that he's willing to jeopardize this. Okay, here's another element.
And just stay home forever. Because we're going to find out we can get along without you clowns.
Well, there is an allegation of a Grindr account. I have no idea the validity of it, but there is an allegation. We'll have to see how that goes. Anywho,
you're terrible. You're an awful human being.
I'm an awful person. And like I said, I didn't say it was true. I said there's a.
And you also didn't dispute that I said you're an awful human being.
I am a horrible human being. One of the things I find is interesting, the Republicans trying to sell this, we're going to lay people off. Dude, what have you been doing the last 8 months? You proudly walk around D.C. talking about all the people you fired, and now all of a sudden you're acting like, look at the Democrats firing people. Heck, I mean, you should be applauding this, because this is kind of what you want.
But there are a lot of Republicans who are saying, go ahead, Democrats, shut it down, because you're giving us the opportunity to do what we want. The OMB guy is just sitting there, rubbing his hands like, oh, this is going to be great. What I mean, so apparently all the rest of the layoffs, that was rehearsal.
Well, it should be mentioned, there's a lot of departments where they're frantically trying to get these people back now, because they realize that they can't even do daily functions, including in the USDA, which is they're trying to get those people back in there now. No,
we don't need food security in this country. What's the matter with you?
It's grass. Why not?
It's grass. Oh my heavens!
So
have you seen beef prices? No, because you're not tall enough. Because they're way up there.
We're way down, actually. Where is the Mrs.
Oh,
Butter?
no. To the consumer, they're way up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not to the producer. Oh heavens, not that.
Their margins are shot. No, so okay. So final question on this. What's your timeline? How long do you think this will last?
Oh God. If they don't do the short term, whip around here before the first of the week, it's trick or treat. It's going to be after Halloween.
I think, I agree with you. I think it's going to be early November. I think it's going to be early November, because the Republicans will dig their heels in on that extension of the ACA tax credit. And that, I think, is the linchpin. If they basically cave on that, the Democrats will come to the table and they'll get it passed. But I just think that it's going to take them taking into November, getting the feedback from their constituents about, why'd you do this to my health care? And then they'll finally realize, okay, there's going to be a consequence because an election's in a year. So we'll take a break. Come on back. When we do return, we'll talk about that meeting with the top brass in the military yesterday. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shamblat Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Broadcasting in Chicago on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Jeff Stein joining us. So yesterday, that was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment on a lot of different levels. You know, I think that it was clearly Hegseth wrote this, and Trump went in there thinking this was going to be cheering generals, throwing their hats in the air like it was going to be some sort of grand spectacle. And they don't realize that, first of all, the people who definitely know the rules of the military, which is you do not applaud at a political rally, are the generals. They're not about to do that. But as well, I don't think there was too much there that they were applauding, because at the end of the day, the generals, I don't think, have a lot of patience for what they were basically exposed to yesterday.
Well, when you consider the fact that you've called them all in from around the world at great expense, you've lined them up in an auditorium so that you could get a pep talk from the head cheerleader. That's what it came across as. And then the principal came in, and nobody likes to hear anything the principal says. It was a stoic looking room in all the cutaways I saw. I saw some CBS reporting from someone in the room. And it was like after one of the big lines, he'd be like, most not applauding or chuckling. You know, it's kind of like it was half of a lecture and a reprimand and a pep rally, you know? And if in fact, if you are the secretary and you don't like some of these policies that have been in place for 15 years, 20 years or more, who do you think has been promoting them and carrying them out? It's the people in the room. So do you expect them to all of a sudden say, whew, thank goodness, because I've really hated following those orders.
I hated promoting the Tuskegee Airmen. You know, of course, that's not going to happen.
And if they all now do the honorable thing and resign, that was a great phrase. Then what are you left with? Because there's experience there, right?
Yeah.
So I have, it reminds me, and this is a television analogy that I was taught once, that you can always tell when a new news director comes into a failing television station, because the first thing they do is change the graphic look on the screen, or they paint the backdrop. It's like nothing of substance. It's just, hey, look, this is very different now. It's kind of felt the same way. Like, you know, what's tangible here? What's actually, I don't know. If morale was truly, and you would know, because again, thank you, you wore the uniform. If morale was that low, wouldn't we know about it?
Here it is. I'll just say it. No one in that room respected Pete Hegseth. because he's a hack and they all know him as a hack. And I can say that as a military guy. He was one of these guys that sits there and talks about all these things that he did and stuff like this and act like he's this wiser than thou. There's an entire room of people that know 10 times more about the military than you'll ever know. So shut up. The other guy is Johnny Bonespurs. And don't think that whole thing doesn't register with them because they don't really have a lot of patience for that. Presidents before this, Democrats and Republicans, just walk up to the military and say, guys, thank you for your service. Tell us what you need. And that's what the generals like. They don't want to be told, let's get into the meat of this. I want you to go and perform war in the inner cities, which once again, this is not policing. Policing are the police. The military conducts war. So I guess they want to do Gaza in Chicago, in Minneapolis, in Seattle, in the areas where, and let's just be blunt, where the high minority populations are, where they're more black and brown people, and they want them just to walk down the street and start shooting up things and take buildings and blow things up, and off you go. And like I said, I can tell you what, that group and that military leaders, they don't want anything to do with any of that. So that's why I think as well it went over like a lead balloon.
Wasn't the argument, well, let me roll this back. The National Guard has different training than soldiers, correct?
There is because the mission that they have is generally different than the soldiers.
Exactly. And we say the National Guard can come in after an emergency, flood, weather, etc., right? Okay. So if in fact the National Guard has different training than the military, and we've already heard complaints that the National Guard is not well trained for policing like in these cities, how far removed from proper training will the average soldier be? Right? I mean, if it was bad with the National Guard doing it, this is what we heard, right? It's bad for the National Guard to do it. Wouldn't it be 100 times worse if you send in the Marines, to use a phrase from the movies? I mean,
well, and if you get people who are like majors or lieutenant colonels that are basically ordering people to fire on civilians in foreign countries, that was not that group. That group are the generals and the admirals. Those are the people ranking above them. And trust me, those people know those rules. You do not just start shooting people in the middle of a street in some country just because you can. You have to understand what you're trying to do. So to take that flawed, demented mentality of just start shooting them up and ordering the generals to send the troops into Dallas or Baltimore or Atlanta and go into the high density black and brown areas and bring in the tanks and you can do whatever you want. I understand he wants to be a dictator, but I think at the end of the day, the military leaders will basically look at him and say, you want to fire me, but I'm sure as hell not going to start ordering my troops to fire on U.S. citizens.
I think to make one of your points more strongly, even, if the folks who were in attendance for that series of speeches, if they had been on board with the messaging from the administration over the first 8 months, if they had been on board with that, do you think they would have been all called to Washington, Quantico, and have a made-for-TV event done? See, my guess is that it was being received so poorly, they decided to do an end run and do a TV show for the population.
And would you say that after what happened yesterday, that it's not getting any better? Because that looked pretty stupid.
It's one of these that if you loved it, you were cheering. And if you were going, excuse me, this doesn't make sense, then it's just another example. Everybody's viewpoint going in was reaffirmed.
Well, let's put it this way. The people not cheering were the generals and the admirals sitting in the chairs. They sure as heck weren't cheering. Jeff Stein, once again, the Iowa Politics Report. I'll post that later. Jeff, we'll talk to you next week. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Hey, everyone, this is Ellie Krug. Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day Luncheon. This inspirational and transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day Luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. We hope you will join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ plus and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly and authentically and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 10th. This year's National Coming Out Day luncheon will be at the Hyatt Regency Minneapolis. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon will begin at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the events section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com on the events page. That's TwinCitiesQuorum.com.
It's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast, weeknights at 7 on AM 950. KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The federal government has been shut down, and Sakamagani reports the Senate vote to get it open again has failed.
Both sides are holding firm, with the Democrats insisting on funding for health care subsidies and Republicans refusing.
Well, it ends when the Senate Democrats pick this bill up, passed by the House of Representatives, and vote for it.
The way out of this is for Republicans to finally roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Top Senate leaders John Thune and Chuck Schumer at the White House.
I actually don't think it's going to be that long of a shutdown.
Vice President J.D. Vance says some Democrats have already flipped sides, but at least 5 more have to sign on. And if the shutdown drags on,
we are going to have to lay people off.
Roughly 750,000 federal workers are expected to be furloughed, some potentially fired. For now, the shutdown's immediate impacts are being felt at places like Acadia National Park in Maine. Visitor Jim Feathers frustrated with Congress.
Their job is to pass a budget, and if they're not doing their job, what are they doing down there?
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Uncertainty created by the shutdown has sent the price of gold to new heights. At last check, gold futures were trading at close to $3,900 per troy ounce. But stocks showed little reaction to the shutdown. The S&P climbed 0.3% to a new all-time high. The Nasdaq rose 0.4%, while the Dow gained just 43 points, but that added to its own record high. In other news, Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Memphis Safe Task Force has begun making arrests. And Israel's defense minister has ordered all remaining Palestinians to leave Gaza City, saying anyone who stays will be considered a militant supporter and face the full force of Israel's latest offensive. Local hospitals report at least 21 Palestinians killed across Gaza today. This is AP News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
History Theater's new season opens with a celebration of one of Minnesota's own. Don't miss Doris Hines. Now through October 12th in St. Paul, experience a vibrant tribute blending live jazz, powerful storytelling, and the life of Doris Hines, mother, performer, and icon. With dynamic music and a stellar cast, this world premiere spans local stages and global reach. Discounts are available for students, seniors, and veterans. Don't miss this unforgettable premiere. Find details now at historytheater.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 84, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 66, and Thursday sunny with a high around 87. He's greedy, he's grumpy, he's horrid. The enormous crocodile slithers onto the stage in the U.S. premiere of this smash UK hit at Children's Theatre Company. From jungle creatures to outer space adventures and a wild dance party, you won't want to miss the enormous crocodile. Running October 1st through November 23rd. Tickets at childrenstheatre.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here. Good to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We do want to make sure I mention here that we are going to be giving away some tickets here to the brand new show over at the History Theater. Don't miss Doris Hines. I've got a pair of tickets to give away a little bit later on this hour for the Saturday, this upcoming Saturday show at 2:30 p.m. It's a Saturday afternoon matinee, 2:30 p.m. For Don't Miss Doris Hines. It sounds like fantastic. Talented nightclub singer moves to Minneapolis, 1963, navigated the challenges of a troubled marriage while working to build her musical career, raised 6 kids in the post-World War II era. Nat King Cole urged Ella Fitzgerald, do not miss Doris Hines, witness the powerful legacy of the unsung artist. Don't miss Doris Hines. That's the play. It's going to be over at the History Theater in St. Paul. Once again, I got a pair of tickets to give away a little bit later on for Saturday afternoon show at 2:30. So listen for your chance to win. Patrick, how are we today?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm okay because it is the greatest month of the entire year. It is October. Oh, I do like October here. Although it's, what is it? It's like 80 outside?
Yeah, it's going to be 80 through most of the weekend.
God, I'm going to go apple picking this weekend, and I don't like it when I get hot apples off the tree, although that does sound kind of, it does. It's going to be 90 on Saturday. Yikes. It's going to be 90 on Saturday. What do they do? You cover high school sports. Usually at this point of the year, we're not South Carolina, for God's sakes. I mean, what are they going to just be pouring the water on the kids?
Yeah, no, for soccer, they have mandatory water breaks during the game if it's above a certain temperature.
Oh, they got, so yeah, you're right. Through Saturday, it's 90, 78, somewhat cooler on Sunday. Then it actually looks like it's October. 62 on Monday, 65 on Tuesday. That's not bad. Oh, I love it. We get the leaves changing. Pumpkins, see pumpkins everywhere now. Not pumpkin spice, but pumpkins. Give me a pumpkin. And of course the trick or treat. Are you going to go out to the zoo and see all the jack-o'-lanterns they do out there?
I haven't thought about it, but that sounds like a good idea.
Oh man, that's good. It's always fun. To give you an idea how good it is, we took the kids out there when they were younger, when they started doing it. We still do it, even though it's just my wife and myself. We still go out and do it. It's fun. I do enjoy that quite a bit. Hope you have a good October. I do actually have an update on a story that we have been following. This is that fire truck accident that happened out in the southwestern part of Minnesota. Now, basically, the fire truck rolled. A firefighter on the truck was killed in the rolling. Yesterday, we had the first inclination that there might have been alcohol involved, because I think the Star Tribune story yesterday listed alcohol. They're suspecting alcohol as a factor. We did not know any blood alcohol level or anything like this. So I went to search for it, and shockingly, not a lot of news stories on it, although you'd think that this would be something there would be some news stories on. But I did come across a website, and this is the world we live in, I guess. This is a website that basically kind of finds the stories of what's going on with fire departments and stuff like this that happen, kind of keeping you up to date on when bad news happens with the fire department and stuff like this. And namely, a firefighter has passed away. They report it. The other story was about them fighting a fire, and tragically a firefighter lost. But this story was included in there. And I'm going to read from this. Now, once again, I'm reading from their webpage. I will post their webpage on my social medias. So I'm saying that this is what they're going with, but this did come across as a news item when I did type it into the search engine. Several beer cans were found near the scene where the Minnesota fire apparatus crashed on Friday, with a suspected drunk firefighter driving behind the wheel in southwestern Minnesota, killing one man and injuring the driver and his son, who is suspected DUI. The rig was participating in a local high school's annual homecoming activities. This sounds like it was a pretty scary accident. Arriving firefighters found firefighter Patrick Remiger, 43, trapped beneath the truck when they arrived, and he was unfortunately deceased. The driver, firefighter Andrew Van Hecky, 37, and his 6-year-old son, Bo, were injured, have been released from the hospital. Police stated that Van Hecky is being investigated for being under the influence of alcohol when the fire truck crashed. Van Hecky was driving the apparatus when it veered to the right shoulder, struck a mailbox, overcorrected, rolled several times. How fast were you going, dude? Landing in the ditch. Several 12-ounce cans of beer were located close to the fire truck. Charges against Van Hecky are pending. No one was wearing a seatbelt. Remiger was a 20-year member of the department while also running a dairy farm along with his wife. He is survived by their children, Cole, Tate, and Shelby, parents Steve and Jane, and his sister Hope. And all my best to the family. I'm sorry about your loss. This is, you know me, I've got zero, and I mean zero freaking tolerance for drinking and driving. After a drunk driver cracked my back. Here's what I need. I need to know that the police did indeed administer a breathalyzer test or got a sample to tell us how drunk this guy was. Because this could have been, he was escorting, I guess, the cross-country team as they ran the game ball to the stadium for the homecoming game. And by the sounds of it, I think we're all lucky this guy didn't plow into a bunch of high school athletes. I'm stunned. Stunned at this story. I need for you to tell me that you did indeed realize very quickly, oh, this guy's been drinking and driving, and didn't do that. Come on, man. We all have had a few beers and had some fun at a parade. Tell me you took this seriously. Tell me you gave him a breathalyzer. Tell me you have a blood alcohol content on this guy, because we need to know exactly what we're dealing with here. He did this to his 6-year-old son. Dear Lord, dear Lord. The crazy news doesn't stop there, though. This one broke today, and holy cow, is it kind of going all over the place. A state lawmaker and his younger brother, who attends White Bear Lake Area High School, have shed some new light on a 22-year-old man whose school officials said fraudulently enrolled and attended classes until he was exposed. By the way, can I tell you what's interesting about this story to me as about to be 57-year-old? One of the things I find crazy about this is that 25 years ago and before that, every year there was a movie out about a grown adult enrolling in high school and becoming a high school student. And that was a common movie trope for years. The adult goes to school. 21 Jump Street, for goodness sakes. Now, of course, they were cops infiltrating the school, sort of thing. But still, the entire concept, 25 years ago, this was like a plot. Now, I'm kind of glad we're treating it a little bit more seriously than they did back in those movies, for goodness sakes. State Representative Elliot Engen of Lino Lakes, whose district includes communities served by White Bear Lake School District, sent a letter Tuesday to the superintendent, Kazmarek, I'm going to go with, Wayne Kazmarek, calling for his immediate resignation in connection with the high school principal. Russell Reitz told family was a man who appears to have provided fraudulent documentation and a false identity to enroll. Reitz, the principal, went on to say in his letter that the discovery was made by staff members, families, and students who saw something and decided to report it. The Forest Lake man is currently at the Anoka County Jail for violating terms of his probation stemming from a gross misdemeanor indecent exposure conviction in Washington County in March and a new misdemeanor theft allegation. Wow. White Bear Lake Area Police Chief Dale Hager told the Star Trib on Wednesday that his department is aware of this enrollment incident. We're looking into any and all potential criminal charges related to these incidents and aggressively investigating them all. The Star Tribune generally doesn't identify the suspects before they are charged. Engen's letter to Kazmierczak, I think, leveled yet to be substantiated allegations of felony crimes against the man based on social media postings. Engen told the Star Tribune there is more than confident that the postings are credible and they lean to a motive for why he was attending the high school. Yikes. Star Tribune has reached out to the man's attorney and close family members for further information about his time at White Bear Lake area high schools and the criminal accusations. The Star Tribune reached out to the superintendent for the district, and the superintendent is not commenting. Engen, a 2017 White Bear Lake graduate whose brother is a senior there, provided the Star Tribune a copy of the Bears football roster that lists the man as KJ Perry and a member of the team this season. Now, whether or not that's his real name remains to be seen. I mean, obviously, if he was falsely enrolled at White Bear High School, he was, once again, a Forest Lake guy, falsely enrolled at White Bear High School. It would be, obviously, he probably would use a fake name, but he was known as KJ Perry to the member of the team of the season. He also sent the Tribune a football roster for Forest Lake High School for a earlier season that has the man's real name. So, yeah, apparently he played football at Forest Lake when he was there. The same name appears in the Star Tribune's roster for Forest Lake in 2021. Forest Lake School District Superintendent Renee Reedy confirmed Wednesday to the Tribune that the man was a student there until January 2023 and that he played football there. So why he left in January 2023? Did he graduate early or was he kicked out of school? That's the other question. Reedy said she was unaware of her district having any concerns that the man, who was not too old to be in high school back then, enrolled there improperly. Reeds told families the following: "We received reports of an individual enrolled at White Bear Lake Area High School was over the age of 21 and promptly started an investigation. Upon our initial investigation, we've determined that while enrolling this individual, we followed our enrollment process, which is as rigorous as state law allows. The individual appears to have provided fraudulent documentation and a false identity to enroll. We are continuing to investigate the situation and working closely with the White Bear Lake Police Department, which is also conducting an investigation." So now, first of all, I can relate to Engen and to every parent at this school, especially if the implication of this story plays out, which goes back to, and let me make sure I say this correctly. Like I said, I'm just trying to find the crime here that he was charged with at one point. Okay, so he was violating his terms of probation stemming from a gross misdemeanor indecent exposure conviction in Washington County in March and a new misdemeanor theft allegation. The indecent exposure one is the one that kind of, okay. Yeah. And you were in the football, and one of the things that other stories, other versions of this story have portrayed is indeed this man was in the football locker room, changing and getting ready for football games with the kids. And I'm going to presume some of those kids, especially if it's a lot of these football programs, there might have been some 14 and 15-year-old boys in the locker room at that time. Yikes. I completely understand. The question I have here is, for the superintendent to, one of the things that the principal says is, no, we followed all the rules. This guy basically provided false information. which is might be a reason for, I think, every school district who's listening to me right now to maybe go over those rules and check your student rosters. And is there anybody there that looks like they have to shave before they get to fourth period? That sort of thing. That might be a helpful thing to do. I understand your frustration and your anger, but if the superintendent, if this guy, basically they followed the rules, the school followed the rules as state law applies, so they can't go further. I don't know what the principal or the superintendent, if he brought in, like I said, if all of a sudden we look at pretty convincing documentation that this person looked like he was saying who he was. Yeah, it is somewhat hard to hear this story. And like I said, what's crazy is 25 years ago, this was the plot of half the freaking, at least one movie a year was a grown adult going to high school and the awkward craziness. And granted, that was how it was presented, awkward craziness versus what it should have been portrayed as, oh my God, this is creepy AF. My guess is going to be, and I'm going to take some money here, that Engen might be the guy to introduce the bill of more definitive proof of an individual being the individual that they are. Like I said, it's not like you can just walk into a school and say, I'm a student. You have to produce documentation. So if he's got fake documentation that looks real, I don't know exactly what we're looking at having to change. And maybe it is a situation where there has to be more of a parent or guardian involvement in an enrollment process. But we'll find out. I'm sure we're going to find out more about this as it goes. And I've got the very, very bad feeling this is going to get worse as far as what we're describing here. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
So an atheist, a Christian, and a Buddhist walk into a church. There's no punchline. That's just what happens every Sunday at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. It's all the thoughtful reflection, community, and warmth of a Sunday service without religious doctrine. Curious? Find out what we're all about. Join us for Sundays Reimagined at First Unitarian Society or live stream at firstunitarian.org. Think outside the pew.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. October is here, so Halloween is right around the corner. And if you're thinking of having a horror movie marathon with friends, you better make sure your home doesn't look like something out of one of those movies. Don't ghost your carpet this fall. My cleaning heroes at Zero Res can help get all those spooky smells and creepy stains out of your home. Carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, any surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Right now, you can get your entire home Zero Resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner, with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. But there's something even scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home, and it's in your air ducts. This month, take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning service. Don't let a missed deal haunt you. Call 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com today and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
You know, it's a complete day if I've got Jury on my bumper music and I'm wearing a Jury t-shirt. There you go. It's more Jury makes my day better. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So let's well, for this next break here, let's go down to the Minnesota 2nd Congressional District. A new candidate has entered the ring. Minnesota Representative Kayla Berg, the DFLer from Burnsville, announced Wednesday she is running to replace Angie Craig, who's running for U.S. Senate. Berg, a single mom, flight attendant, and union activist. I've had to fight to be in every room that I've been in, Berg said to the Minnesota Reformer. She was first elected to the Minnesota House in 2020 after winning South Metro swing district race. The South Metro 2nd Congressional District is Minnesota's most competitive. And, well, is it? Because Angie kind of mopped the floor in 2024. It was there's a lot of money spent in the race, but I think that race is becoming more and more Democrat. And I think as well, it does not just the expansion of the metro area into the district, but as well, those river towns down there, there's a lot of conservatives, don't get me wrong, but they're getting more and more Democrat too. So it's interesting that I don't know if this district is necessarily as much of a swing as it once was. Basically, so yeah, it's Craig turned the district blue in 2018. She widened her victory in 2024. Despite the Republicans' victory nationwide, she's not running again because she's running for Senate. Minnesota Senator Matt Klein, the DFL from Mendota Heights, former DFL Senator Matt Little are also running for the seat, as are the Republicans Eric Pratt from Prior Lake and Tyler Kistner is back. He lost to Angie Craig twice. So yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily a good sign for them, but yeah, no, I have to tell you the truth. Okay, so I'm going to be straightforward. I know Kayla Berg. I've met her, very nice person. Yeah, I met Matt Klein. I think I talked to Matt Little. I think he was a Democrat of the day at one point. But no, I think right now the Democrats have some pretty strong candidates in there. I'm not going to deny that. Berg is part of a small group of working class state legislatures. A 2024 study from Duke and Loyola Chicago found that less than 2% of state lawmakers nationwide come from working class jobs, dwarfed by the 50% of the labor force in working class jobs. Berg, whose parents are retired college professors, does not have a college degree. She's been a flight attendant for 22 years and is a lifelong Minnesotan. Salute. According to the campaign press release, she currently works for Endeavor Air, a subsidy of Delta. She has held various leadership positions in her local union, and including the union steward and vice president. She had pushed legislation to expand funding for school mental health personnel, another bill to increase the criminal penalties for so-called straw purchases of firearms, which is when someone buys a gun for someone who isn't legally allowed to buy one. Her district endured the shooting, of course, and killing of 2 Burnsville police officers and a paramedic last year by someone who was heavily armed via straw purchases. Berg said that their policy focus in D.C. would be to lowering living costs, strengthening public schools, and stopping the attacks on healthcare from Republicans' egregious agenda. Lowering the cost of essentials is easier than most people think, Berg says. Tackle unfair tariffs, make sure the wealthiest 1% of corporations pay their fair share of taxes, and invest in healthcare, housing, and utilities. Preach, girlfriend. Yeah, she's right. She's 100% right. Well done. And by the way, concise. And like how you did that. There are too many hardworking families in this district who feel like they're falling further behind, while Washington politicians look out for the wealthy and the well-connected. She's in the release announcing her campaign. I think the healthcare issue is definitely going to be one. We already had multiple clinics and hospitals announce they're closing in Minnesota. My guess is before the next election, we're going to have more, including ones in her district, or the district she's running for, the Minnesota 2nd district, including in her district. And this whole idea, okay, and I understand. So I think healthcare is, and for all the DFLers, I think that you start hammering these guys on the fact that they're basically shutting down your local hospital, that you shouldn't have to drive to the Twin Cities suburbs to get medical care if you don't live in that district. I don't think that that's fair. Not saying that's not nice in the suburbs. Lovely down there. That southeastern part of the metro is absolutely lovely. Now, that all being said, I also think you shouldn't shy away from the fact that the Republicans have been disastrous to the farmer. And pointing that out, the reason why Republicans howl, and I mean howl when you bring this up, is because they can't defend it. Don't you dare talk about, you're from Burnsville or for Invergrove, you can't talk about farming. I can talk about farming because your margins are garbage. And the reason why the margins are garbage is because the Republicans have basically been hurting you for years, and you sit there and you take it. You know, if you would have, and I don't have any problem saying if you had voted for Kamala Harris, you'd at least have soybean market still. And a reminder that under Joe Biden, soybeans were selling for $14 a bushel. Today, I looked at the price. It was what, $10.24 a bushel? And by the way, you're getting absolutely annihilated. These were, and if I can say, the soybean markets were pretty well taken care of by Biden. He recovered them. And now they're gone. I don't even know if they are going to come back. And there isn't another China out there that wants to take all of our soybeans. And they're not exactly delicious to eat. You know, I understand they go into a lot of different things. But it's not like you're toasting them and having them in a bowl as a snack while you watch the Vikes. No, this is a disaster. And I think you have to point out farming is worse off than it was before Trump was in office, and these Republicans have enabled them. Do you want to give Republicans another chance to take away your farm, or do you want to elect a Democrat? I think you go down there and you start going for the kidneys on that one, because Republicans, eventually Donald Trump is going to, help out. I can't wait. By the way, I can't wait for that. Can't wait for like August or September of next year when all of a sudden earnest Republicans are, I've had a come to Jesus moment. I've realized I kind of disagree with the Trump ag policy. Do you? Or are you realizing that the farmers are not going to show up for you guys anymore? They might not vote for the Democrat, but they're sure not going to vote for you anymore because you sure haven't helped them. Welcome to the race there, Kayla. We'll obviously talk more about that as we get closer to that. Election 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come on back. Matt McNeil Show here on the Wednesday.
I've got mysterious.
Hey, Francois, what's with all the wrapping paper?
Salut, Laura, je fais des cadeaux.
You're making gifts. These must be for your clients. And then your favorite macaroons for Nicolette's.
Bien sûr.
Oh, they put your business logo on them? Luxurious.
Oui, et ils expédient partout dans le pays.
They ship anywhere in the U.S., and look how many you bought. You must have lots of clients.
Mais non, ils sont tous pour moi.
Oh, Francois, these are just for you? Well, visit NicolettesMacaroons.com today to create thoughtful gifts for your business, your friends, or yourself.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
Hey everyone, this is Ellie Krug. Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day luncheon. This inspirational and transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. We hope you will join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ plus and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly and authentically and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 10th. This year's National Coming Out Day luncheon will be at the Hyatt Regency, Minneapolis. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon will begin at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the events section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com on the events page. That's TwinCitiesQuorum.com.
Hey, it's Mitch, owner of Junk Masters, your local independently owned junk removal team. We are not a franchise, and that means personalized service you can count on. Spring's a season for cleaning out the things you're ready to let go of. Whether it's one item or a full property cleanout, we handle it all, residential or commercial. You just show us what goes. With same-day service, upfront, no-obligation pricing, and a landfill diversion program that prioritizes donating, recycling, and reuse. Visit junkmastersmn.com to learn more.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 65, then Thursday, sunshine with a high of 87. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. The History Theater is putting on Don't Miss Doris Hines. This runs through October 12th. A story of a talented nightclub singer who moved to Minneapolis in 1963, who even Nat King Cole said you do not want to miss Doris Hines. Don't Miss Doris Hines is the production at the History Theater. I've got a pair of tickets right now for Saturday's matinee. This upcoming Saturday on the 4th, 2:30 p.m., 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. If you want to go, and you can go on that day, by all means, here you go. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you will win yourself a pair of tickets for Saturday, 2:30, to go see the brand new play at the History Theater. Don't miss Doris Hines. Good luck. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I want to put out this story that this is something that was put out here by the Reformer. A majority of Minnesotans in recent polling want lawmakers to reconvene for a special session on gun control and pass a ban on so-called assault weapons. I want to repeat that line. A majority of Minnesotans in a recent poll want lawmakers to reconvene for a special session on gun control and pass a ban on so-called assault weapons. That's your lead. But, of course, there's a but. That may not ultimately matter as Governor Walz and legislative leaders negotiate a deal to reduce gun violence and improve school safety. The August mass shooting in Annunciation Catholic Church has brought the gun control debate to the forefront, and Walz and legislative leaders have been meeting behind closed doors to see if they can come to an agreement for a special legislative session to pass gun control and school safety measures. Results from the recent Everytown for Gun Safety poll were especially stark in the suburbs. 62% of suburban Minnesotans, 62%, almost 2/3, said they support the legislature taking action to ban assault weapons. 62% of voters in suburban Minneapolis, St. Paul, and in suburban metro area and metro areas around other the suburbs around other metro areas in the state, 62% say they basically want to have a ban on assault weapons. The results mirror a recent KSTP poll, which found 60% of suburban voters. So there should be a special session, and 60% said they wanted a ban on assault weapons. This is a 60% of the state wants this. And you know why? Because freaking 60% of the state has been affected by mass shootings. That's why. I mean, that's where we have had so many freaking shootings ever since you guys undid the assault weapons ban 25 years ago, and you guys flooded the streets with guns, and you said, no crime will ever happen again. And you did. You lied to us. You lied to us, and you kept saying, we're going to put all the guns on the street, and no one's going to ever commit a crime. That was your lie over and over and over again. And now you don't, well, I never said, yes, you did. You created this mess. I talked about 4 mass shootings, 4 in 14 hours on Saturday night to Sunday morning in this country. 60% of us know somebody who has been in a mass shooting. God bless things. My son, who was in Highland Park for the 4th of July shooting at a parade, for God's sakes, he wasn't hit. Thank God, nor was his girlfriend or their family. The reason why so many people want this is you've gotten to the point where the majority of us have been directly affected by mass shootings. And you sitting there and saying, well, we'll put 1 extra cop in the schools. That will, no, it won't. No, it won't. No, you have cops in schools right now and mass shootings happen. You guys keep saying we're going to spend money on mental health, but then you never propose any mental health spending. And you always cower away from that. And you don't do anything. No, you are all words and you're nothing else. You're no action. So I'm the majority of us, and considering these mass shootings are not going away, we're just getting more and more and more of them. That'll probably be up to 70, 75%, and you Republicans will still insist, no, I'd rather have mass shootings than any common sense gun regulations, because that's it in a nutshell. Republicans are okay with mass shootings versus common sense gun control. That's it. Even on KSTP, it shows up at 60%. Dear Lord. Given the importance of those suburban areas to determine the next legislative majorities, you would think Republican lawmakers might be open to compromise. But here's the other thing. Every town poll, which surveyed 800 likely 2026 midterm election voters early this month, the assault weapons ban, 93% of Democrats said they support it. 68% of Republicans say they oppose it. And let's be honest, there's a shocking amount of Republicans whose own children could be shot in a mass shooting. And they'd still say, you know, I love my kid and all, but guns, you know. I can't help these people. They're broken to the freaking core. The same people who claim to be Christian, the same people that claim to be for life. You're anything but. You're hypocrites. Ugh. So here's your conundrum. The Republicans know that within their own party, with their base voters, that you get mad, you stop the gun shooting. And they try to sell this as, you know, this is just wholesome gun culture. And the reality is there's a lot of people in rural America that are selling guns into the inner cities where these mass shootings are happening. And that's just that. And they don't want to stop that because they make a tidy buck there, turning that around. You sell it out of the back of your truck. You sell it out of the back of your car there, man. You can make some money. And frankly, they don't care. They see these stories about kids being shot, and they don't care. And that's the saddest part of all. So, although 62% of the state wants an assault weapons ban, the Republican voters will basically threaten any Republican away from actually having some common sense. Republican lawmakers face the prospect of angering their own base, which could lead to a GOP convention and primary challenges, especially because many gun rights voters are single-issue voters who can be activated to oppose Republicans' deemed insufficient support of the Second Amendment rights. The reformer called several suburban Republicans to ask him where they stand on the assault weapons ban. Representative Andrew Myers of Tonka Bay, Tom Dipple of Cottage Grove, Jeff Whitty of Lakeville, did not even respond to a reformer's messages. Representative Kristen Robbins, the Republican from Maple Grove, who's running for governor, declined to comment because, yeah, guns, right? That's what you guys are all about. Guns. That's it. Doesn't matter how many mass shootings it is. The gun's still your best friend. First term Representative Wayne Johnson, Republican from Cottage Grove, told the reformer he doesn't support an assault weapons ban. I'm not wavering. I'm not a favor of a ban. I don't see it working. It worked when we had one, you freaking knucklehead. Ta-da! That's right. When we had the assault weapons ban in this country, we had far fewer mass shootings. We did. Do you know what has increased the mass shootings? You freaking knuckleheads handing out guns like they're lollipops. This is your world. You created it, and you basically want to close your eyes, put your fingers in your freaking ears, and scream, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. And you think it would be something that they would be concerned about, because this is not something that is just a Melissa Hortman issue or an Annunciation Church issue. This is everywhere. As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to bring this up. Since the Annunciation Church shooting, there have been threats at a lot of schools. And they're not all Twin Cities metro schools. Nope. Albert Lee, Minnesota, Monday a few weeks back, said after the FBI identified an online threat, the Albert Lee Police Department and Freeborn County Sheriff's Office were informed at 7:30 a.m. of a potential threat to violence intercepted through a social media monitoring. District 241, I believe, is the district down there. School officials were told about 15 minutes later, with all students already in school, properly moved inside school buildings, with some schools entering secure mode due to the nature of the threat. Police officers were sent to local schools as a precaution. Schools placed under a secure hold, which means doors locked and nobody just allowed in and out, including Brookside Education Center, Sibley Elementary School, Southwest Middle School, and Albert Lee High School. Working in collaboration with District 241 staff, officers identified and located a juvenile female who is considering a person of interest in that case. Days after organizing a student walkout protest against gun violence, senior Ella DeWitt was shocked to learn that a student was arrested for threatening to shoot up her school. What metro area school was that, Matt? Well, it wasn't. So, this is, I believe it was Sartell. What is this? My first thought was, which is kind of sad, was it because of the walkout, the little gathering at the flagpole? DeWitt said she's a hunter, but feels gun violence is different and needs to be taken care of. Schools in Duluth and Sartell have grappled with gun threats in the first weeks of school. Duluth and Sartell. After 2 school children were killed on August 27th in the Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis, copycat threats have highlighted fears and caused school administrators to look even closer at safety plans throughout greater Minnesota, where the state's 2 previously dead shootings occurred 20 years ago. Waite Park. Minneapolis police arrested a man after Waite Park Elementary received a threat call on Thursday morning. So they arrested a Minneapolis man. Waite Park is not in Minneapolis. That is out in Waite Park. That's up by St. Cloud. A man allegedly indicating he would arrive at the school with an AR-15 gun and shoot anything that moved, according to the Minneapolis Police Department. The school was placed on lockdown. Parents were notified, and officers and SWAT and surrounding buildings. According to the statement, police say the man's vehicle was found in Missouri, where he was arrested. So he wasn't arrested in Minneapolis. He was the warrant came out, but he was arrested in Missouri. He ran after it. None of these schools, by the way, metro area schools. But rural Minnesota is under the threat, just like the Twin Cities are. Albert Lee, Waite Park, Sartell, Duluth. It's the guns. It's the guns. The only thing that connects every mass shooting in this country for the last 25 years since Columbine. The only thing that connects every mass shooting is guns. I remember you guys back after Columbine and after the movie theater shooting and stuff, or the shooting in Vegas on the Strip for the country music show. I remember you guys sitting there saying, you know, if everybody else had an AR-15, they wouldn't have even tried that. Well, now we have people who are carrying guns. I mean, for God's sakes, New Orleans happened at 3 a.m. on Bourbon Street where there's conceal and carry. There are people all over the place, and there are cops everywhere on Bourbon Street. If you've not been to Bourbon Street, there are cops everywhere. Still, you had a mass shooting down there. It's the guns. It's the guns. And one of the other things I pointed out yesterday when we talked about the four, or on Monday, when we talked about the 4 different mass shootings that happened, you have one who clearly was, well, I shouldn't say clearly. One person who had been suffering from PTSD, that was the shooting in North Carolina. Sounds like the guy that shut up the casino in Texas was just angry about something. You had a drunk shoot up the street on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And then you had basically what a guy that looks like he's the poster child for MAGA drive his truck into a Mormon church and start opening fire and killing people there and burning the church down. He seems like he just hated Mormons. It's the guns. You can't trust me, I think mental health spending is a great idea, but that's not going to help the drunk guy. It's not going to necessarily help the impulsive guy that just shoots up a casino. And if you're so concerned about mental health for military veterans, then why are you not throwing a fit that the federal government has cut funding for mental health care for the VA facilities? How about that? When was the last time you wrote a note about that little nugget? Because you're not going to. Because you don't care. Because it comes down to one equation. Republicans would rather have mass shootings than common sense gun control. It's really that simple. 62%. I guarantee you that 62% is probably 62% because 62% of the state has been affected by mass shootings, for God's sakes. Are Republicans going to sit there when it's 95% and finally say, well, maybe we should start looking at this? Well, for all the people that will be gunned down until we get to that point, thank you very much, Republicans, for your lack of action. You basically have said those lives do not matter. It's the guns. It's the guns. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Hello? My name is Paul Sheldon. I'm a novelist. My #1 superfan, Annie Wilkes, has me trapped in her house. I need you to come to the Yellow Tree Theater in Osseo, September 26th to October 4th to get me out. YellowTreeTheater.com. It's misery. Please don't come alone. Hurry. She's coming.
Hey, it's Tom. There's a war being waged on clean energy. A bill in Congress could eliminate the 30% federal tax credit for solar by the end of 2025. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Fossil fuel giants and their MAGA friends in Washington want to kill green energy. But you can fight back. Going solar with All Energy Solar isn't just smart, it's a form of resistance. You choose where your money goes, not to utility companies, not to fossil fuel billionaires, but toward clean, renewable power for your home. A system for All Energy Solar works in Minnesota year-round because it runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the dead of winter, you're generating electricity. And All Energy Solar helps you save with every rebate and incentive available. This is the moment to act. Waiting means risking with this tax credit and giving the upper hand to MAGA Republicans. So get your free consultation today at allenergysolar.com and take back your power.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. Let us help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Hey, Patrick, by the way, we did give away those tickets, did we not?
Yes, we did. Congratulations, Matt in Minneapolis.
Matt in Minneapolis, enjoy the show there. We'll have more tickets to give away tomorrow. Listen for your chance to win there. By the way, I also want to make sure I and this is on me. I apologize. I failed to mention yesterday it was Orange Shirt Day, which is September 30th, a day of remembrance and reflection for the Indigenous children who were forcibly removed from their families and sent to residential schools in Canada and the United States to be assimilated into white culture, leading to widespread trauma and loss of identity. It is an important day. And this is something, and this is one of the ones that's shocking to most people, is this isn't ancient history. This isn't, the 1890s. These schools were still in use. I know in the 1970s, I thought I heard Robert talk about that they were in use in the 1970s. Were they even in the 1980s? There are a lot of people around today, a lot of Native Americans, a lot of Indigenous people who have memories of these schools. So this is not ancient history. This is still fresh. Everyone should be participating in Orange Shirt Day. Everyone should be. Absolutely. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Minnesota Department of Education and the organization operating the state's high school athletes have 10 days to resolve a bylaw allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' sports. U.S. Department of Education and Department of Health and Human Services on Tuesday ruled the Minnesota Department of Education, the Minnesota State High School League, the nonprofit organization that oversees high school athletics in Minnesota, are both in violation of Title IX for allowing athletes assigned male at their birth to compete in female sports. The Minnesota State High School Board of Directors in 2015 voted to open girls' sports to transgender student athletes. The decision took effect for the 2015-2016 school year. The ruling made Minnesota the 33rd state to adopt a formal transgender student policy. The federal government determined the state's Department of Education and Minnesota State High School League over the course of several years allowed male athletes to compete in girls alpine skiing and Nordic skiing, girls lacrosse, girls track and field, girls volleyball, and girls fast pitch softball. The USDOA initiated an investigation in the Minnesota State High School League in February under the belief that it planned to violate an executive order signed in January by Trump that declared transgender athletes ineligible to play girls' sports. The resolution agreement was proposed to the state from the federal government, but involuntarily resolved their Title IX violations within 10 days. Now, first of all, I find it hilarious that you Republicans scream about this because you care about kids, but you're not going to do a goddamn thing about gun violence, are you? You don't care about those kids. The gun's more important to you there, huh? Anyway. Here's why I think you're all just a bunch of bigots and clowns. All right. All you people that just hate on transgender athletes. This is why. Because your entire argument is it's a dude in a dress. And it's not. And it's not. And if you actually educated yourself on the issue, like John Oliver did on Last Week Tonight, and maybe I'll repost that excellent piece that he did, it is far more complicated and it is not necessarily anything like you basically are describing it. And frankly, I think that a lot of these people are just either sore losers, Riley, or you're basically just, you're bigots. And bigot's going to bigot. That's how I feel about it. So the state constitution protects people's rights. Screw these guys. Take them to court and fight. For goodness sakes, fight. Fighting for other human beings is a good thing. Native Roots Radio is up next. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for